Hello, students. I am super excited to be here today. I wasn't sure if this was going to be a Zoom meeting or a webinar. The main difference between a Zoom meeting and a webinar is just kind of you're talking to a sea of people and you don't know who they are. And then a webinar is, or a meeting is when you're able to interact. And so I wasn't sure. And I'm excited because it seems like this is a Zoom meeting. So I'm able to see you, you're able to see me, and this is really exciting. For the next hour, we are going to spend some time. I don't want to spend too much time just talking. I want this to be interactive. I want you to be able to ask questions of me. I want to be able to have you do the exercise, the 1 Minute Madness. And hopefully you'll leave this workshop with some tips that'll be helpful as you navigate your STEM careers and you explore your interests. And most importantly, I would say connect with each other. I think connections with each other are phenomenal. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. And Sarah, if it's okay, it's hard to see the chat. So if anyone has anything in the chat box, if you don't mind, just letting me know. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. I'll share my screen again. Okay, and is everyone able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, good.
Oh, should we have video on for this?
It would be beautiful if you can. I mean, I think it would be fun. But it's up to you. It's completely up to you.
That is up to you. I do request that you remain on mute unless you're asking a question of Tiffany.
Yeah, that'll actually be ideal if you remain mute, just so we can avoid background noise. That's a good point. So welcome to 1 Minute Madness. You can all see my screen. My name is Tiffany Reardon and I work at UC Berkeley. Before I tell you a little bit about myself, I'd like to hear a little bit about you. So who is here? So if you are able to, if you might have done this in classes where you've used Zoom, if you can do the annotation, so do view, annotate, and maybe just draw or do a small circle on where you're from. You can put a dot, you can put a star, you can put anything. Very cool. All right, okay, so we've got the East Coast and the West Coast. Very, very nice, and very appropriate. Oh, nice, and we have got Oregon. Very cool, very cool. So we've got folks from all over, so this is fantastic. Very cool. All right, what's your major? Bio, data science, computer science, keeping my options open. It's always a good one. Very cool. Biotech, engineering, CS. We probably have some computer science and maybe some computer engineers in there. We probably have some mechanical engineers and aerospace engineers in there, so very cool. I'm not able to see the chat box, so if anyone has a question or comment, Sarah will go ahead and read that. Okay, beautiful. Thank you for doing that. All right, so now that we've learned about each other, I'm going to tell you a little bit about me and who I am. So my name is Tiffany Reardon, and I am at, you can go ahead and stop the annotation now. It's okay. My name is Tiffany Reardon, and I I work at UC Berkeley. And my role at UC Berkeley is I am the Associate Director of Engineering Excellence Programs. So I work at UC Berkeley, and I actually work with transfer students, hence why I'm here today. I'm actually excited because I've been working with transfer students for 20 years. I started off, I went to San Francisco State University. I'm from the West Coast, the San Francisco Bay Area. I went to SFSU. I'm a first generation college student. My first job out of college was actually working at a community college. I worked at Skyline College for 8 years, and I helped students transfer to four-year schools and pursue STEM degrees. While I was at Skyline, I was in charge of the MESA program. We might have some MESA folks on here. Do we have any MESA Community College folks? Yes, Fernando's MESA, Luis's MESA, beautiful. So I was in charge of the MESA program, and my MESA program was, we did really well. And then I was recruited to work at the MESA statewide office, and I worked there for 4 years. And I did that, and I got to meet a lot of students, and I got to go to community colleges from all over the state. And then I did that for 4 years, and then I said, you know what, this is great, but I want to be working with students, right? I like to work with students. That's what really kind of motivates me. That's what I feel that I'm good at. And so I had an opportunity to come to UC Berkeley and work with students after they transferred. And so I began at Berkeley in 2012, and I started a program called T-Prep, which is the Transfer Pre-Engineering Program. So maybe if some of you decide to come to UC Berkeley and decide to study engineering, I'd love to have you in T-Prep. And what we do in T-Prep is basically we help students transition from the community college to UC Berkeley and really create and replicate that community at the community college at Berkeley. Aside from the work that I do with my current students, I continue to try and reach out to prospective students. I talk to high school students. I talk to students interested in grad school. I talk to early career professionals, really kind of helping them navigate. As I mentioned, I am a first generation college student. And so being a first generation college student, a lot of this was new territory for me. I'm probably a lot older than all of you, but I will tell you that early in my career, I was extremely shy. I lacked confidence. And that's something that I feel that I'm good at developing with students. And I think that the exercise that we're going to do today is going to illustrate that. My most recent project, I am still at UC Berkeley, and I love it, and I hope to retire there. But on the side, I have a blog called REU Finder. And the blog that I run, REU Finder, really presents opportunities to inspire and engage and provide students with information about opportunities that they can pursue, whether they're interested in research, graduate school, or just want tips on how to navigate the career search process. It is free. It is 100% free. It's not something where I'm trying to sell you on or subscribe to anything. If you do subscribe, you'll just basically get emails to your email box with opportunities. Connect with me on LinkedIn, because I do post a lot on LinkedIn about opportunities, articles, and just things that are of interest. So what is this 1 minute madness, right? 1 minute madness. So what we're going to go over today is we're going to kind of go over some things that I believe you as community college students and students studying STEM would benefit from, and really kind of knowing that these are things that would be useful to help you kind of reach your goals. So in normal times, some of these things are a little bit easier to acquire and kind of make more sense than others. But believe me, they're all very important, and there's a reason why. So we're going to briefly go over business cards, LinkedIn profiles, the resume, professional headshots, and last but not least, creating a bio, which is the 1 minute madness. So business cards. So that photo, as of right now in the situation we're in, oh my gosh, they're shaking hands, right? That's not something we typically do right now, but we will eventually get back there. And so, the handshake, I think right now the trend is to kind of, elbow bump is what a lot of people are doing. But in a normal setting, and fingers crossed, next year when you attend SACNAS, you will bring business cards and you will give out those business cards and you will shake your hand as you meet others. So business cards. I recommend that all college students have business cards. I have an example, and this is an actual example that I use with my own students in our program. So you can get business cards. You can get a pack of business cards for, you know, $10, right? Basically, usually like the elements that you would want to have on your business card, maybe your school logo, that would be a good one. Your first name, your last name, when you're graduating, that's important. Your major, your phone number, your school email is preferred, and your LinkedIn URL. Those are all of the things that I would recommend you have on your business card. So you can make some business cards. Again, you know, there might be settings now where you can give them out, but believe me, once, you know, things get back to normal, you know, you'll have them ready to go. And they're very helpful. At the same time, when you collect other people's business cards, you want to make sure that you write on the back of the card why you're talking to them and what you're talking about. Because when you go to a conference like SACNAS or any other conference, you come back, you'll have a stack of cards and you'll think, why do I have all these business cards? Like, who are these people, right? So you want to kind of write down on the back of the business card, you know, what you kind of talked about, and maybe there's a follow-up, right? Maybe you're talking to somebody about a research program for mechanical engineers. They're looking for mechanical engineers who are interested in aerospace. And so, you know, you write that on there. Maybe there's a, you know, scholarship that you're interested or whatever, but basically write it on the back of the card. LinkedIn. LinkedIn really is a phenomenal way to connect with people. You can connect with people literally from all over the world. LinkedIn is not Facebook. Obviously, Facebook is a little bit more social. It's not Instagram, but it's really a way to have your professional brand out there. Let me ask you this, how many of you have a LinkedIn? And if you do, you can either do this or you can use the reaction. Okay, good. So how many of you have a LinkedIn? Beautiful, good, good, good. So if I were you, I would add each other. I hope some of you add me. But LinkedIn is phenomenal. LinkedIn is phenomenal because it's a great way to connect with other people. And if you regularly post on LinkedIn and you put out there that you are looking for opportunities, guess what? People will present you with opportunities, right? So for example, Fernando, what is your major? Oh, you can unmute, sorry. Oh, I don't think I can unmute you.
My major is computer science.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. Keto, what is your major?
Computer engineering.
Computer engineering. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, this is beautiful. Okay. So Keto is computer engineering. Fernando is computer science. So Keto is probably more of a hardware guy. Is that correct?
That's right.
So he's more of a hardware guy, right? Fernando's a software guy, right? So
Yeah.
maybe they're friends, maybe they're friends on LinkedIn, and maybe, you know, somebody sends Keto an opportunity and they say, hey, you know, we're looking for somebody who's interested in computer science and someone who's, you know, more of a software person. And he says, well, you know what, I'm hardware, you know, I'm really more interested in embedded systems and circuits, and that's not really my thing. But Fernando, on the other hand, I see that Fernando has really talked about his interest in software engineering. I'm going to present this opportunity to him, right? So not only is it connecting you to opportunities, you can also connect each other to opportunities. And I think that's the beautiful thing, especially as a student, that I see that LinkedIn provides. I always encourage my own students to use LinkedIn. I have them connect with alumni all the time. And especially now, given that everything is remote, it's actually been quite useful because I can simply say, oh, well, you should connect with this person, you know that graduated from this school and they're doing kind of what you want to do now. So I can't say enough about LinkedIn. Now, with most things, we want to make sure that it shows you in the best light possible. So I have some funny kind of examples here. Now, as you can see, the LinkedIn profile, you know, Jennifer Lopez. So that's a nice, easy, clean profile. Now, maybe you have a name that's a little more common, right? So when you make your LinkedIn, maybe you have a name that's a little more common and maybe somebody else has your name. What you can do is you can use the name and you can just put like a number or a letter or something, maybe a middle initial. At the end, see this one, the John Vicente 8675309. That looks really bad on a business card, right? Because remember we said that you were going to put that on a business card. It's also hard to remember. So I would say create a customized URL, right? So see this example, right? That looks terrible on a business card, right? They've got the long email or the long thread. When you make your LinkedIn handle, they will automatically generate one and it's going to have that long handle. So what you can do is you can shorten it, right? And make it look a little bit more professional. And it's going to look really, really good on a business card, believe me. So I have the instructions how to do it. So basically you just go to your LinkedIn, you view your profile, you edit, and then you kind of change it. And voila, you have a beautiful customized LinkedIn profile. It looks very professional, looks very nice. And it'll look really good on the business card as well. Fun fact, make sure that you test it. One time I had a student give me her LinkedIn profile and it was somebody else's, right? So make sure that you test it and make sure that it is indeed your profile. It was kind of sad and embarrassing when it happened because we actually printed business cards for that student. And I was like, hey, this has somebody else's LinkedIn profile. So make sure it actually is your profile. Resume. That when I talk about resume, oftentimes students will say, oh, I'm embarrassed. I don't want to show you my resume, right? Don't worry about that. So resume, let's talk for a little bit about resumes. Now, give me the thumbs up if any of you are interested in grad school. Okay, thumbs up if any of you are interested in research. Okay. So if you are interested in grad school and research, chances are that you will have two resumes. The one resume will be the short and sweet, right? So the short and sweet resume, so I'll pick on Fernando again, right? So maybe Fernando wants to get a job as a software engineer at Apple, right? So Fernando wants to work at Apple as a software engineer. He's going to give them a one-page resume. And that one-page resume, short and sweet, just one page, it's going to highlight the classes he's taking. It's going to highlight the work experience he's had, the accomplishments he's had, the student organization, maybe his involvement with SACNAS, like all of those things. But it's going to be specific to the job that he is applying to. Now, Keto, for example, maybe Keto is interested in research. So maybe he's applying to an REU program. And so his is going to likely be longer than one page. He might talk a little bit about his research experience, some of the things that he's been involved in, the classes he's taken, and elaborating on projects that he's done in those classes. Also a more in-depth experience and interest. Now, Fernando will also talk about some of the projects that he's done in the classes, but industry, if you're doing a resume for industry, they just want one page, right? They don't want to see, multiple pages. If you talk about a CV, and sometimes they will ask you for a CV, and I remember the first time somebody asked me for a CV, I said, what's a CV? I didn't know what it was, right? So now all of you know what a CV is. CV is a curriculum vitae, and that's basically a research resume. Later on, when all of you are, faculty, when you're postdocs, you'll get asked for a bio sketch. If you're involved in any of the National Institute of Health initiatives, they will ask for a bio sketch. And fun fact, I had one of my colleagues say, what's a bio sketch? And I said, basically, it's just a CV. Short and sweet CV one page, right? Basically your research or presentations. Also, how many of you are presenting at SACNAS? Any of you presenting at SACNAS? Okay, well, when you do present at SACNAS, and I'm sure a lot of you will include your presentations on your CV. Okay, headshots, professional headshots. When you have your beautiful LinkedIn profile and you have your customized URL, you're gonna wanna have a photo of yourself. These are some examples. So these are actual students. These are not models. They could be models, but they are actual students. This one student's from Cabrillo College. This other student was from LA Valley College. And these are just basically headshots, right? This is just a good example of a headshot. A good headshot will have just the head and shoulders. It's not a selfie. It's just basically a photo of yourself. People say, well, what should I wear, right? Should I wear a tie? Should I wear makeup? You know, what should I do? I say be comfortable, right? If you are extremely uncomfortable in a tie, don't wear a tie. If you typically, you know, don't have a face full of makeup, then don't, right? You want it to look like yourself, right? But be comfortable, be confident, and make sure that it looks like you. I think Fernando has a question.
Okay, so would something like a shirt like this be fine for like a photo?
That would be perfect. A nice collared shirt would be great. Absolutely. Absolutely. Nice collared shirt, clean, something plain, right? You don't want something with a bunch of logos, something distracting, you know, something like that. That'd be great. Make sure you have multiple sizes as well. So multiple sizes, you know, so if it's for like a, you know, if it's for a print or for whatever. And you can just Google like, you know, headshot sizes and they'll give you the dimensions for each of them. If you have, we all have that one friend who takes like really good pictures, right? So maybe ask that friend to take your photo. All right. So here's the 1 minute madness. So bio, why do you need a bio? And what is it? You're going to see, you've probably already seen, a lot of people have bios. So anytime you get a scholarship, sometimes they'll ask you for a bio. If you receive an award, they'll oftentimes ask you for a bio. If you are a panelist on a student panel, sometimes they'll read your bio. If you get accepted to an REU program, sometimes they'll ask you for a bio and they'll put it on your website. Or when you present, they'll often ask you for a bio. So today, you're all going to make a bio. This is the 1 minute madness. So what I'd like you to do is grab a pen or a pencil, or if you want to type, whatever works for you. I'll get you a minute to get that. So grab a pen and pencil. We're going to do that. And before we do that, if I could get one volunteer.
I can volunteer.
Everett, thank you. All right, Everett. Gonna volunteer. I like that. He didn't even know what it was for. And he's like, I'll do it. I'll volunteer. It's beautiful. Okay, Everett. You're going to read our sample bio. All right. So go ahead and read our sample bio for us.
Okay. Do you want to give me a hint on the name?
Sure, it is Nuj Baragoa. And it's Soraya.
So Soraya.
Uh-huh.
All right. Soraya or Sarai? All
Soraya.
right. Doesn't. Sarai Nush-Baragoa is a senior majoring in electrical engineering at Morgan State University in Baltimore, Maryland. Last summer, Sarai participated in an REU at Johns Hopkins University, where she worked in the applied physics lab. Sarai's passion is not limited to electrical engineering. She is also passionate about advocating for those who are less fortunate. At Morgan State, she founded and chartered a chapter of GlobeMed, a national organization that addresses health inequity in the world by partnering chapters with grassroots organizations that focus on improving their community's health. Under Sarai's leadership, the Morgan State chapter was able to educate students on social injustices through awareness events and raised money for hand washing systems in 23 Cameroonian schools. After earning her bachelor's degree, Sarai plans to pursue an MD PhD in psychiatry and neural engineering.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. This is an actual student, and she is in med school. I'm very proud of her. Can I get one more volunteer?
I'll do it.
Diani?
It's Diani.
Diani. Beautiful. Thank you, Diani. All right. Diani, take it away.
Okay. Hector Santos is a sophomore majoring in mechanical engineering at Santa Barbara City College. Hector is a graduate of Goleta High School in Goleta, California. From a young age, Hector has been interested in space. During high school, he entered an independent film in the Southern California Educational Video Awards Festival and won Best Editing and Best Picture. He continues to nurture this interest by working on projects that allow him to combine his passion for space with his film editing skills. Last summer, Hector was one of 24 students selected to participate in NASA's National Community College Aerospace Scholars Program, where he worked with NASA scientists and engineers at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL. Hector plans to transfer to a four-year university in the fall of 2021. After earning his bachelor's degree, he plans to attend graduate school.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Now, I hope you have your pen and paper because it is your turn. All right. So who are you? So when I say who are you, I mean, what is your name? Now, sometimes students might have a name that they go by, right? So they have their full legal name. You know, maybe there's a name you prefer or you go by or nickname. So basically how you like to be addressed, right? So who are you? One thing you'll notice is that the bios are written in third person, right? And so typically the bio is written in third person. And so that's what the bio that you're going to create will be written in third person. So where are you from? So I like to ask this question because people will say, well, what do you mean where I'm from? When you say where you're from, I really want you to think about that, right? You might say, I'm from Southern California. I'm from the LA area. I'm from Hollywood. I'm from New York. I'm from the Bronx. I'm from Puerto Rico. I'm from San Juan, Puerto Rico. I'm from Georgia. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, right? Completely up to you. The reason why I encourage you to really think about that, the more specific it is, the more memorable it is. So sometimes students will say, oh, I'm from Los Angeles. And I'll say, oh, you're from the city of Los Angeles? And they'll say, no, not really. I'm from Huntington Park. Well, why didn't you say you're from Huntington Park, right? Be specific. Don't worry if no one knows where that's from, because guess what? You never know. It's a bigger world than you think, right? You might say, I'm from Shafter, California, which is in the Central Valley, right? You might say, I am from Fresno, right? I'm from Fresno. Maybe somebody else is from Fresno. You might say, I am from Livingston, New Jersey, right? Oh, you're from Livingston, New Jersey? Oh my goodness, I know exactly where that is, right? It's a conversation piece and it makes it memorable. Now, what did you do or what are you doing at your community college that you believe makes you stand out? Some students have a lot of trouble with this one. They really have a lot of trouble with this one. They say, well, I don't want to sound like I'm being conceited, or I don't want to sound like I'm bragging. Okay, here's the deal. You're writing a bio, right? You're writing a bio that's going to be used for awards, for scholarships, for student panels, for presentations, right? It's not bragging. You're also telling the truth, right? So not only are you writing this bio for you, think about who's reading this bio, right? Think about who is reading this bio. If I were someone reading the bio and I saw someone from my hometown, I would get inspired, right? If I saw someone doing something that I aspire to do or that I'm interested in, or maybe someone who looks like me, or maybe someone from a similar background, I'm gonna get really inspired, right? So it's really important that you feel comfortable talking about your achievements, right? So Sarai's example, Hector's example, did you get inspired when you read those? You did. Does anyone want to maybe share why you got inspired?
When I was reading Hector's, at first I wasn't sure if reading it correctly because it was like, oh, he's talking about space, and then all of a sudden you're talking about film. So I was like, wait. So I really liked how it kind of like took a sharp turn for what you would have normally expected from that student, and I think that made it stand out a little bit more to me. And I think that especially in STEM fields, the more diverse your interest, and it's not just like straight science, and you have like a little bit of like something else, like whether it be art or social science, like people, that stands out a little bit more.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's really important that oftentimes students will say, well, you know, I don't want to put that down because it doesn't have anything to do with STEM. And I'll say, well, what is it? You know, well, I play an instrument. Okay, well, why is that a bad thing? Like, why wouldn't you put that down? Or I won an award for something, or I'm in a band, or I'm doing something. Like, again, bring your full self to the table. SACNAS is about diversity, right? If you don't include those diverse experiences, then how are we going to have diversity, right? If we don't reveal diverse experiences, then we're not going to have any diversity. Then everyone's resume is going to look the same, right? Everyone's resume is going to look the same, and it's just going to show a bunch of classes you've taken, right? Majority of you are taking the same classes based on your majors, but the life experiences that all of you have, the interests, the talents, the aspirations, that's where the good stuff comes in, right? And so we want to celebrate that. So you know, put that out there. So what are you doing at your community college that makes you stand out? If you just started community college, if you're like, you know, I just started a month ago, maybe high school, right? Maybe it's something that you did in high school. Whatever it is, what is that thing that you would like people to know that you did? Now, that's the what, the when. When you graduate, what do you want to do after? So you'll notice at the both of these bios, you know, after receiving his or her bachelor's in whatever the major is, you know, student plans to whatever their dream job. You'll notice in Hector's, I said grad school, right? Because Hector maybe isn't sure what he wants to do. He knows he wants to go to grad school, but he's not sure. Sarai, on the other hand, like, no, I want to do an MD, PhD in psychology or psychiatry and neuroscience. So it's very specific, right? So if you don't know what you want to do, but you have kind of an idea, that's completely fine. Maybe Natalia is like, I want to work at Tesla. And Natalia says, I want to work at Tesla. Maybe Karima says, I want to go to medical school, right? And if you don't know, that's okay too. You can keep it vague. Incorporate the why. I think incorporating the why really is something, and especially I would say when you talk about the why, this makes it easier. This makes it easier to celebrate these accomplishments because there's something that sparks you. There's something that motivates you, right? I'll give you an example from my own personal experience. When I was a student at San Francisco State University, I did nothing related to school aside from schoolwork. I went to class, I went to work, I went to pick up my daughter, and I went home. I never participated in any extracurricular activities whatsoever. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I went to school. I sat in the back most of the time. I was extremely, I mean, we're talking extreme imposter syndrome. We didn't even call it that back then, right? I wish that, you know, do you all know what imposter syndrome is? Have you heard of that? Imposter syndrome? So I had an extreme case of imposter syndrome, extreme. I also worked and went to school, right? I was a very low income student. I worked, I went to school, did not feel like I belonged at all. Fast forward, now I'm like, wait a minute, you mean I could have applied for scholarships and not worked so much? You mean I could have utilized tutoring at, you know, programs and things like that, right? So my motivation for helping students and my motivation for pushing students to really pursue what they want to do is because I did not do that. Now, I'm not going to say my college experience was horrible because it made me who I am today and it made me appreciate who I am today, but I know from firsthand experience that it doesn't have to be like that, right? So if you want to pursue something, there are plenty of opportunities out there. There's plenty of opportunities, and there's also plenty of people who want to help other people, right? So it's unfortunate that, you know, this year that we're not in person, but that doesn't mean that, you know, the SACNAS network, I think one of the things I love about the SACNAS network, and I'm involved in a lot of different organizations, is that in SACNAS, any professional that you talk to, whether they're, you know, a grad student, a postdoc, or, you know, somebody who's on the National SACNAS board, like they're there to help you, they're there to talk to you, and they're there to inspire you. And so, you know, reach out to them, ask questions. Because there's this real sense of giving back. And when you're, you know, a professional, whether you're a scientist, whether you're an industry partner, you know, whoever you are, you'll come back and you'll inspire the next group. Is anyone feel comfortable, or does anyone want to share what they have written so far?
I will in like 2 minutes.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah, in a couple minutes.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'm excited to, so where are you from? Who are you? What did you do that's dynamic, makes you stand out? What do you want to do after? What are your plans? Dream job. I always say, when you're talking about your dream job, be specific, right? This is your dream job, right? So dream job. And of course, why? When you talk about the why, I've even seen when students talk about something that motivates them, their whole demeanor changes. Their whole demeanor changes, and their whole, it's like this illumination happens, right? This whole illumination happens. And it's inspiring. It's very inspiring. So fun fact, my major was not STEM, believe it or not. People say, oh, well, what did you study in college? I actually studied sociology. So I did sociology for my undergrad, and I did education for grad school, which kind of makes sense, the sociology, because I love people and I love learning about people and trends. I always joke that I'm the nosiest person you'll ever meet. It is kind of true. I love learning about people. I like talking to people. I love reading people's life stories, right? It's kind of funny that, you know, here I am, you know, like telling people like, hey, write a bio. The truth is I want to read your bios, right? Because I like learning about people. So it's kind of funny. That's kind of what motivates me. And that's what I enjoy doing.
Stephanie, I am right there with you. This is Sarah from SACNAS. I actually did behavioral sciences when I was an undergrad.
What did you do?
Behavioral sciences.
Oh,
So
beautiful.
sociology, anthropology, psychology. I just wanted to butt in because we actually have a question in the chat. We've got someone who wants to know, what do you do when you're changing careers? I know you can change your entire resume, but how do you incorporate your past experience?
Oh, that is a beautiful question. I am so glad you asked that question. So I get this all the time. So as I mentioned, at Berkeley, I get students who come to UC Berkeley, sometimes community college transfer students who have had an entire career before coming to school. So, I mean, I've seen everything from students that were veterans to students that ran their own business, to students who, you know, maybe they were in college and, you know, left college to raise a family. What I would say, if you have, if you are changing careers and you have a different, you know, career, include the things that highlight the skills. So include the things that highlight the skills that are going to be useful for your future career, right? So maybe I'll give you a good example. I know someone who, current student actually. So a current student who owned a business. They owned a business, now they're studying mechanical engineering, and they are, you know, discovered research and they want to go to graduate school. Now that student, if you own your own business, one, you have to be very disciplined. You have to be very disciplined. You have to learn good communication skills. You have to learn to work with people, right? So all of those things that that student acquired from having their own business, time management, things like that, those things and those skills that they have acquired through that, those are things that they highlight. Those are things that they highlight. Maybe if there's any certifications. I mean, certainly a lot of our students that are veterans, they might have a security clearance, they might have some special skills or trainings that they have via their past experience. Highlight those things. So don't, you know, worry like, oh, it's completely different. Everything kind of builds upon each other. And so I would incorporate those things.
I have a quick question.
Uh-huh.
About how long should it take to like say the whole thing? I know that we like kind of read it as it was a paragraph, but like in general, like if, let's say if it was like a medical school interview, for example, like how long, like it's like 2 to 3 minutes, right? Like it shouldn't be any longer than.
So for a bio, so for like when you're applying to, you know, med school or graduate school, you'll have to write a whole personal statement, right? Personal statement or personal history statement. Even transferring to university, you'll have to write a statement. Those are going to be longer, right? Those are going to be much, much longer. But for a bio, usually maybe, I don't know, less than 300 words, I think is a good one. A paragraph, definitely no more than 2 paragraphs. So a bio, you know, sometimes they'll give you a word limit. And so it's always good. You might also look on your professor's web pages. Oftentimes they'll have a short bio and a long bio. And I like reading those just because they inspire me, like, wow, like this person is doing a lot of different things. So you might want to see, oftentimes they'll have the shorter and then the longer version.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So like for your LinkedIn bio, can you use the same template and then would you just change it into like first person?
Yes. So, oh, Luis is good. So my own bio does not follow this rule of third person. My own bio on LinkedIn is quite long because there were things that I wanted to highlight on the LinkedIn. Now on your LinkedIn bio, you can write in first person, right? So for your LinkedIn bio, you can write in first person. So you can write and highlight things. I just kind of highlighted, you know, things about like what I've done, but it's all in first person. For the bio that you're all creating right now and that you'll continue to work on, those are for like, you know, maybe you received an award or maybe you received something where they request that. But for your own LinkedIn bios, you will write a first person bio.
Got it. Thank you.
It could be long, it could be short, whatever. Yeah. Great question.
Thank you.
Follow up to that question, should it sort of expand on what we're writing now? Should we have the same, sort of be like a summary, or should it be exactly this? And then could you just make it, like completely change it just to first person and just leave it how it is?
So good question. So what you're working on right now, you can easily adopt a first person, right? So for example, if we go back to Hector's, right? We can say, you know, Hector would say, I'm a sophomore majoring in mechanical engineering. I graduated from Goleta High School. You know, I've been interested in space from a young age, you know, while I was in high school, right? So it's very easy to go from one to another.
Right, okay, cool, thanks.
So if anyone's comfortable reading your bio, I'd love to hear it. Or I'm interested, where are you from? What did folks put down? What did you decide? So when you said where you're from, what did you put?
I put that I'm adopted from Paraguay, but I grew up in Norwich, Connecticut.
Very nice. That tells a story. Beautiful. That tells a story, right? That tells a story. It sounds a lot better.
It's a really big part of my identity. So like, I didn't know like if I should include it or not, but like, it really like, it's a big part of my life. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to put it, even though it makes it like a little more complicated to read, I guess.
No. It tells a story. So if you put, I'm from Connecticut, it tells me, okay, great. It tells me your zip code. I'm not interested in your zip code. I'm interested in everything, right? So that tells a story. And you said it's a huge part of your identity, right? If that's a huge part of your identity, bring that to the table, right? That's what SACNAS is about, right? Bringing your whole self to the table. What did other people put?
I did something similar as well.
Uh-huh.
I'm West Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and now live in Charlotte, North Carolina, in Mecklenburg County.
Very nice. So again, the story, right? So telling us the story. So absolutely, we want to hear the story. That tells us, you know, who you are and where you come from. That's what made you who you are right now. And you're going to continue, just like in your STEM classes, right? Just like in your STEM classes, how they build off each other, your experiences build off each other. So that's important. All right, so who wants to share what they have written? And don't worry, I mean, you just started working on this. Don't feel like, oh, it's not perfect. Arturo?
I'm gonna just shut down our fan real quick because it's hot over here in California. But
It's hot in California. Where are you from, Arturo?
You're gonna listen to my bio right now.
Yes,
So,
I'm excited. Where are you
right.
from? Oh, we're gonna hear it. Yes, you said.
Yeah, you're gonna hear it in the bio. Yeah, okay.
All right.
So I kind of like try to write it in third person. I don't know if you guys can hear me well.
I can hear you, Archie.
Okay, so this is Arturo Archie Baza from San Diego, currently attending San Diego City College as a mechanical engineering major. He has been a STEM tutor for a little over 3 years, volunteered in many science community outreach, was the president of SACNAS chapter at San Diego City College, participated in the NASA NCAS internship, and obtained a professional job at UC San Diego Creates program as a science educator. He is planning to graduate in the spring of 2021, and to further his education, he wants to transfer to a 4-year institution to obtain his bachelor's degree in engineering. All of this motivation comes from his passion to become a jet fighter pilot, but due to his too hard operations, that dream was unattainable. But with his mechanical engineering degree, he will be able to design or build new aircraft. So I think that's pretty much what I have.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So what does that tell you? What does that tell you about Arturo when you hear that? That was very nice, very impressive. You did that in a
Yeah, thank you. Well, thanks to your guidelines. It definitely, like how you guys were all talking about, like identity, definitely makes me feel like this is who I am. You know, like I want to share my story with you all, and that way you guys can know where I come from, who I am, like all those little things that you probably wouldn't have guessed just by looking at me.
Absolutely. I think the fact that you're a STEM tutor, that says a lot about you as well, right? It says that you're good at what you're studying, and you also want to help people, and that says a lot about you. So very cool, very cool.
Thank you.
So Diani, are you ready to unveil?
Sure. I'm like, it's still rough, but I just wanted to say that one thing that I got out of Archie's share was that it shows a really strong story of perseverance. It's like, though you got deterred from one journey, like you just find another way to like do exactly what you want to do. So I just found it really powerful. I just want to add that. Okay. So yeah, it's rough, but here we go. Diani Malgarejo was adopted from Paraguay as an infant and grew up in Norwich, Connecticut. After earning their bachelor's degree in sociology and gender studies, they returned to school, going to San Diego City College, where she became active in the SACNAS chapter, performing sentence demos for K-12 students, and as well as presenting a presentation in 2009 at the National Diversity in STEM Conference. She also started an independent project with her professor, increasing accessibility for general chemistry students by providing unique hand-drawn chemistry illustrations. After finishing her prerequisites, she'll take her MCAT in spring 2022. Then they plan to become a doctor of osteopathic medicine, specializing in obstetrics and gynecology. They are passionate about gender justice and reproductive medicine because they believe all people have the right to make informed choices about their bodies and lead their best life.
Very nice. Very, very nice. Very nice. So you see the difference when you bring your full self to the table? You inspire others, right? You inspire others. I love that. I love that. Very nice. I have the, I think we have about 5 minutes. So I wanted to leave time for questions. Any questions you have? Any questions about bio, resume, business cards, transferring to a 4-year, anything.
I was just gonna ask if you could put your LinkedIn URL back on the screen.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Voila. So let's keep in touch. Here's my LinkedIn. So I'd love to connect with you. If you use social media, we have a RU Finder page on Instagram. I like to put funny kind of motivational things on the Instagram page just for fun. And then on the Facebook, and then it is, I mean, this is like optimal recruitment season for summer programs. I know you're probably thinking summer, hello, it's September, but believe me, this is when they all start to come out. So you'll find that. I also put scholarships. I put scholarships for students regardless of citizenship status. So, you know, if a student is an international student, undocumented student, I will put students, you know, scholarships there. Voila. Can y'all see my screen? So I will put scholarships for students from all GPAs also. Sometimes students will say, oh, well, I don't have a 4.0 GPA. Who cares? You don't need a 4.0 GPA. You don't need a 4.0 GPA. You don't need to be a US citizen. Like, you know, there's plenty of opportunities for everybody. So yeah, I put all that there. So so let's keep in touch. So I would love to connect with you on LinkedIn. And then, like I said, if you have a Facebook or Instagram, Twitter, you can follow REU Finder, and we're putting a lot of stuff on there. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see what all of you do, and connect with each other. Because I think that, especially now, it kind of makes it easier, right? If you have connections with other people, and it's also inspiring and fun. You have some really cool majors. So, all right.
I have a question. I'm very early in STEM program because my math very low. I still working on my math to brush up. But in STEM, they have mainly engineers. Is it engineer? It can be related to medical too, or only like electronic, all those things like airplane. What about in medical field engineering?
So engineering is a huge field, right? So engineering is a huge field. So one, about the math skills, don't worry about your math skills at all. I have seen students that start off in arithmetic and go on to differential equations, right? So my advice in terms of studying math is make sure that you select math teachers who teach to your learning style, right? So that's really important. If you want a degree in STEM, you can get a degree in STEM. That's no question. But to answer your other question, yeah, engineering is an extremely broad field. And so there are different areas. Now, if you're interested in bio, you might, think biotech might be something that appeals to you. Biotechnology, biomedical engineering, biochemistry, biology, molecular and cellular biology, public health. I mean, it just goes on and on. You also might look at different majors, right? Because it might be called one thing at one school and called something else at another school. What state are you in, Sonara?
Washington.
You're in Washington. Okay. Washington State?
Yes.
So they actually have the Mesa Community College program in Washington State. They have really good Mesa programs. So you might check them out. And, maybe transfer to University of Washington, or maybe if you want to venture out, San Diego has an amazing bioengineering program. That might be a good one. Or maybe I'll see you at Berkeley. Who knows, right?
Oh.
That'd be fun.
Thank you.
I think we are out of time. It was wonderful to connect with you all. I think you all have another workshop like right after, or I'm not sure the schedule, but I think they want to make sure that you get time in between so you don't get Zoom fatigue, which is a thing, right?
Yes, most definitely. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. It was great to meet you all. Thank you.
Oh, I think there was a question in the chat. Is there a way to get a PowerPoint file for this?
Yes. Sarah, will you send that out to the registered, the folks who registered?
Yeah, we'll collect all of the PowerPoint slides that we are showing today, whether they're this workshop or any of the other concurrent workshops, and we will make them available for all registrants.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day, and please be safe.
Thank you.
Bye.
You too. Take care.